Welcome to the webinar, How to Calculate Dox42 Return on Investment. What we will do in this webinar is we will look at a scenario where we see a company is creating documents, of course, and it is creating these documents via copy pasting. So imagine they have some Word templates where they copy paste an address and some other data, then convert them to PDF, attach them to a mail, send off this mail manually, and so on. This is just a classic scenario for a lot of contract scenarios, employee contracts, service contracts, and so on. And of course, offers and quotes. So this is a classic thing. And what we did at Dox42, we created a return on investment calculator. This is Dox42 PowerPoint, actually. It's deployed in Dox42 Live. We will have a look at this tool, and I will give that tool to you, so you will be able to use it yourself. And we will see how this is done. How can you save money using Dox42? How much can you save? What's the return on investment? How can you calculate the break-even? So it's a bit of mathematical lesson. Okay, and yeah, then we will have a look at the template as well. Then you will be able to ask your questions. So those will be the topics for today. Just one more remark. Actually, the Corona crisis was one of the reasons why we created this series of webinars. We call them Dox42 Class. We will do a webinar every Wednesday, so weekly, and it will be strictly educational content. So it will be, so if you don't know Dox42, have a look at the website. I will not explain it to you. I will explain only how to calculate return on investment. And let's do that right now. So. Okay, you should see the Dox42 return on investment calculator, which is Dox42 Live. We will start that tool right now and define our scenario. Let's say we are a company that is creating ice machines. Summer is coming, so that's not ice machines, okay? Our company is the ice machines company, and we are creating, let's say, service contracts for these ice machines, maybe offers as well, however. And then the first thing we need to define is how many documents per month do we create? Let's say 400, okay? I mean, that means 20 documents a day. This is not a bad number. Of course, if you are a lawyer, for example, it might be less. Or if you're a web shop, it might be many more, not millions, but you don't create them manually, of course. So this is a typical number for documents who are created manually. Let's stay with that. Then we have to define what is the scenario we are in. Do we have less than 5 users? So a very little scenario. For example, we have one of our small customers is a school for dogs. So this is one lady in Germany, and she's training dogs, and she's creating documents with one Dox42 admin. So this is a very simple scenario. Then we have a lot of scenarios where you have one system like a SharePoint, for example, and you create documents out of the SharePoint. Contract management scenario would be classic, is a classic thing here. Maybe you have ShareFlex contract in use, and or some other document and contract management softwares. But you have more than 5 users, so it makes sense to use a Dox42 server for that. And then there's this scenario where you have complex documents like offers, where you have Dynamics 365, finance and operations, or customer engagement, and you have a SharePoint online as well, and you want to integrate these systems. You have maybe product descriptions and images and stuff like that on your SharePoint. You want to integrate it automatically with your contract, with your offers generated from Microsoft Flow or from Dynamics 365. This would be more complex scenarios, or you have an SAP system, something like that. Okay, one of the more complex documents, for example, if you happen to live in Germany and you walk into a Rewe supermarket and you buy anything there, it was ordered by Dox42, because the German Rewe group is generating their orders with Dox42. And this is a quite complex document. It's like 70 pages in different languages and biometric signatures and table of content and a lot of text modules and so on. selected on basis on the business logic, etc. So this is a complex scenario. But in our scenario with the ice machines company, we stay with a relatively simple document logic. Let's see, not more than 5 users. So we assume we have a SharePoint behind that. Okay. How now we have to define the parameters that drive the costs. So, for example, how much time do it take to create manually this document? So think about, you have a Word template, you select your customer in your ERP system, for example, you copy paste out the names into your Word document, and you have this yellow sections in the Word document. You have to delete them on the basis of what is true for this customer, so what he orders with you. Then you have to correct the date and define which employee you are, so you have the correct signature in the document. Then you have to PDF the document, you attach it to a mail and send it to the customer. And you have to store it in the correct folder in your system. Okay, so that might easily take 30 minutes. If you have very simple documents, like, for example, a certification for a training certification, so this Dox school, for example, that might take less time, but then if you go with complex offers and orders, then it takes much more time. But for your contracts, let's stay with the 30 minutes. And then how much time can you save? So think about this copy pasting of names and dates and your name and PDFing and storing to the folder and attaching to a mail and writing the mail, sending off to the customer. If you can get rid of that, because all that can be done by Dox42 automatically, based on the data that you already have in your system, you can easily save 80% of this time. You cannot save all the time, because you have to do the real work to define, okay, this customer wants a service contract, he wants to renew it, okay, which are the terms and conditions for that, who is the right receiver. So this is the thing you have to do, but then you say click, 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 and the document is stored, it has the right names, it's the right metadata, it was sent to the customer, etc. So let's say you can save 80%. This is a quite normal percentage. How much does that cost? Yeah. So the hourly cost of an employee creating these documents. I mean, that depends on the industry, that depends on the scenario, on the country. If you happen to be in Switzerland, it would be much more. But let's stay with 50 euros. And then, yeah, we are only human, make mistakes. And so we have a certain percentage of errors. That can be harmless errors, like, for example, I forgot to change the year, and I sent the customer the service contract for 2019 instead of 2020. You will revert to me and say, hey, my friend, I need it for this year, not for the last year. Wake up. Oh, sorry, I need to correct it. Okay, so there is a certain percentage of error that happens, because if you do a work repetitively every day, a certain percentage of errors will happen. Copy paste errors, wrong receiver, classical things. Everybody forgot the attachment, and so the classic things. Let's say 5%. So that means that the employees are quite good at avoiding errors. But however, if an error mistake happens, it takes some time to correct it. Oh, sorry, I sent you the wrong document. I will create it for you again. Sorry. Yeah. Let's say it takes, again, 30 minutes. We took 30 minutes before, so it should be okay. And then we come to two positions that are easily overlooked, but are important. This mistake might cause a damage. I mean, if the customer just reverts to me and says, hey, come on, send me the contract for this year, not for last year, then okay, that doesn't cause damage. But imagine this is a doctor, and the doctor is creating, the assistant of the doctor is creating patient ladders, and the patient ladder with the AIDS diagnosis goes to the wrong patient, or the employer of the patient. Then you have a real problem, because then you have a GDPR problem, GDPR violation, a data breach, and so on. That comes at real. That will become real costly. So in our case, the ice machines, the service contracts, it's not that critical, so we can stay with the 100 euros. But if you are in a scenario where you have sensitive data, then it might become very costly. So you can state how much damage that error can cost in average. You know? Take into account that not every error will have the maximum, will cost the maximum damage, but in average. Okay, and then another thing, also easily overlooked, this is that you might lose deals because a competitor is quicker. This is especially true for offer and quote scenarios. So, for example, Dox42 has created a product video last year, and we were enlisting agencies to help us to create this video. So we sent out a request for quotes to some agencies, and they responded with their offers. We immediately, so during the next 1 or 2 days, we received 3 or 4 offers, and 2 of them we really liked and said, okay, we started to work with them. Then 1 week after, another agency also sent us a quote. Actually, honestly, we didn't even look at it because we already started working with the other agency. So this agency lost the deal simply because they were too slow. Maybe their offer were very good. I don't know, didn't look at it. So that might happen that you lose deals because competitor reacts quicker. And if you can automate the document creation process, you speed it up, of course. So in our scenario, let's stay with the 10,000 euros lost deals because this is service contracts. Yeah? So maybe if you don't create the service contracts quick enough, then the customer says, "Oh, I found out my neighbor is able to service my ice machine. I don't need your contract anymore." But it won't create a big damage in the ice machine service contracts scenario. But in other scenarios, this might be a very relevant position. Okay, let's stay with that. Then I just need to define my name. I'm Michael Mitarbeiter in that case. Ice machines are obviously manufacturing. You can choose which industry your company is in. The idea is that you might be interested in other companies in your industries that are already using Dox42 and already profit from using Dox42. And so we attach to the presentation you will receive a reference customer slide so that you can see what other customers in your industry are already using Dox42 and what they are doing. So we stay with manufacturing. Then I put the email of Michael Mitarbeiter. So, okay, let's go. So that triggered the creation of a PowerPoint using some Excel logic, and it should have been sent to my account. Here it is. Okay. It is, of course, the mail itself was created by Dox42. It's individualized, as you can see. You can get your 30 days free trial here immediately, and you can book a 2-hour online workshop with us to help you to do that, really. But now, let's have a look at this PowerPoint. Okay, it was created by Dox42, surprisingly. It's individualized return investment calculation for ice machines by Michael Mitarbeiter. Here is all the inputs. Yeah? 400 documents, effort per document, 30 minutes, 50 hours, 50 euros per hour. Errors, 5% errors, take 30 minutes to correct them per error, damage per error, these lost, etc. Okay, so this is just summing up the scenario. How much does that cost? So first of all, how many documents per year do they create? It's 4,800. Yeah, it's 400 multiplied by 12. If you have manual effort per document 30 minutes at 50 euros, that means you're spending 120,000 euros on creating these service contracts, these documents. Oh, That gives a nice holiday, doesn't it? So then you have a number of documents sent with errors, copy-paste errors, etc., like 240, for example. So this is 5% of the 4,800. And that means you're spending 6,000 euros on correcting these errors. You have a damage through these errors of 24,000 euros, which is the 240 documents times 100. And then you have the 10,000 euros lost deals. That means you're spending 160,000 euros, 160,000 euros a year for creating these documents. And it's often quite surprising for customers to see that, how much money they are spending on manual document creation. Now, okay, can you save something? And the good answer is yes, because using Dox42, you can cut that time dramatically to 6 minutes. We say 80% of the time could be saved. Yeah, that was exactly our input. That means we can cut it from 30 minutes to 6 minutes. That means the cost of to create these documents is only 24,000 euros. And there are no errors anymore. So because if you automate these documents, you avoid the number of errors. You avoid errors in principle, the copy-paste errors, because you don't copy-paste anymore. That doesn't mean that everything is correct, because if you put the wrong data in your SharePoint, in your CRM system, your ERP system, that will be in your document as well, of course. But that will be in your document also if you copy-paste it, and if you copy-paste it correctly. So you can get rid of these errors, but you can get rid of copy-paste errors. That means you have no cost to correct it, you have no damage to errors, and you don't lose deals because a competitor is quicker, because if you create documents automatically, you can create them very quickly with a few mouse clicks. Okay, that means using Dox42, you can cut these costs to 24,000 euros, and that means you can save 136,000 euros, which is quite a deal, isn't it? Let's have a look at some charts. First, you see how this effort is divided. So the main effort goes into the manual document creation in that case, and the lost deals and the damage for errors, and so this is not the main part. So this is the main part of effort, and this is where you can save a lot. If you have a look at the return on investment, you see here Dox42, you have a cost for Dox42. There's a license cost and there is a service cost, because you have to design your templates, you have to put them on your SharePoint, you have to set up a workflow, stuff like that. So this is service cost and license cost. There's no such thing as a free dinner, but it's relatively low compared to that what you could save. Yeah. You see the green line is what cost you can save. Yeah, and the red line is the return on investment. This is the difference of the two, of course. So you see that the return on investments, where the two lines are crossing, goes through 0. So this is your break-even point. From that point on, you start to earn money. Summing that up, ice machines will save 136,000 euros per year if they implement Dox42. We estimate the Dox42 implementation cost at 30,000 euros. That means you have some moderate licensing costs, Dox42 document server, a few add-ins. That's not the major part of it. The major part is the service cost, where you have to implement it. You have to design the templates, train your employees, and implement it on your SharePoint, set up your workflows and stuff like that. But you can save 372,000 euro. This is factor 12, in 3 years. So please tell me one stock investment where you can make factor 12 in 3 years, and that's practically free of risk. I will immediately buy it. And that means you will reach your break-even after 3 months. And this is quite a typical number. I mean, there are even companies who were quicker. So, for example, Transcomain in Germany implemented Dox42, and they hit their break-even after 4 weeks. And then there are more complex scenarios where you have more months, until you reach your break even. But normally it's surprisingly quick. Okay, what we do in Corona times, we do this webinar series, and we offer a 2-hour online workshop for customers from home office to home office to learn how to implement Dox42 and achieve this break even in a very short time. It's free of charge, and the idea is that in Corona times, digitalization, process digitalization, becomes the survival question for enterprises, for companies, because I mean, sheet of papers are no good enough from home office to home office. So you have to digitalize your processes, and yeah, we try to help you. You can get in touch here if you get this PowerPoint. You just click here and book your workshop, and then we attached a slide with a few customers in the manufacturing industry, just for your reference. Okay, we have a quick look at the template. That's the template, of course, it's a Dox42 template. And you see, these are the data fields that are put in the document. And we have a lot of input parameters. This is exactly the questions we have been asked during the when we filled out the form. This is exactly the fields here. Summing up all the inputs. Then we have this table where we, for example, see that they lost T's and so on. Yeah. We have here some Excels. Yeah. Calculation Excel. I will guide you through this Excel in a few minutes. The charts are imported as images, also from an Excel, dynamically generated. Here is the sum up, and this is the slides for reference customers. And we have a condition here. Say, okay, only if the customer stated that his industry is finance, or he's interested in all industries, this slide will be attached. Let's have a look at the data map and have a look at the Excel data sources here. So first of all, we have the input parameters here. So for example, the percentage of errors. It was a choice. Here are the choices you have. Okay. And then there's the Excel data source. We use this Excel data source. We use so-called initialization rules here, initializing rules, to put this data into an Excel sheet and having the formulas of this Excel sheet calculating what we want to know. So you see here that we put all this input data in this Excel automatically. This is done by these initialization rules. And then if you have a closer look at this Excel here, zoom it a bit. Here is a range where calculations are made. So here for $40 per year times to create these stocks. So this is all formulas to create the various calculations we have seen in the PowerPoint. Here are the charts. See this return investment charts and the 2 pie charts we have seen here. Okay. The second, yeah, and here we just read the calculated results from this range here, and in the other Excel data source, the charts. We do this exactly the same, use the same Excel, but we are interested in the charts here. So it took about 2 afternoons to put the thing together, so it was not too complicated. And then Fabian was kind enough to make it beautiful. Yeah, that's the return on investment calculator. You will be able to use it. I will put that one in the link to it. I will put that one in the chat. So here, so then you can use it yourself. So you should have received it. Okay, that was it so far. Now it's your turn to ask questions. I will stay here for a few more minutes to answer your questions. And of course, you can come back to me later on. You will get a recording as well. And you can book your 2-hour free digitalization workshop if you want it. We'll be happy to help you here. So just waiting a bit for questions. Maybe everything was clear and you don't have any questions. I'm happy as well. But if you do have questions, now it's a good time. You put them. I didn't mention that you have to put them in the go-to webinar panel. There is an area where you can put in your questions. Okay. Oh, there's only a thank you. Okay. It was a pleasure. So, any more questions? No, then I got my webcam again. Okay, then, yeah, take care, stay safe, stay home. If you go to the supermarket, don't forget your tube scarf, yeah, to keep other people safe. And have fun with calculating return on investment with Dox42. Thanks a lot for watching. Ciao.